Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris Robbins. I'm Extension Associate Farm Operations here at Tennessee State University's Agriculture Research and Education Center in Cheatham County. Today we're going to talk about fruit tree pruning, specifically in peaches, nectarines, apricots, and certain types of cherries. We're going to do trees. You always want to make sure you have an open center like you see here. Some of the first things you want to try to get taken care of when you're assessing what you're going to prune on your tree, you want to get rid of all dead, diseased, damaged, or anything that I call it dangerous. That's my 4 Ds that's down in your way that you might hit your head on when you're mowing or anything you're doing in your orchard. So we're going to go ahead and get started on some of the things that are dead and diseased or damaged. First thing you want to try to do is knock all these mummified fruit off, because those are vectors for disease going into the next year. So you want to get all those off that you can. After you've looked for your dead, diseased, or damaged wood, which there doesn't appear to be a whole lot here on this particular tree, you're going to get rid of anything growing toward the middle, and you're going to start bringing the height down by tipping back some of the growth from last year. One thing you want to remember when you start to prune is you don't want to take more than 30% of the tree in 1 year. So you always want to keep that in mind as you're pruning. Some other things to remember is you don't want to have anything that's crossing over or shading out anything below it. So you're going to want to work on that as well.
Now you can say it.
All right, now what we're going to do here is you want to always remember to take out anything that's crossing or shading out something below it. So you want to start to thin out the things that are crossed up and shading other things out, or anything that's growing back in. And then while you're here, you'll tip these back to help maintain the height and reduce the fruit load so that the branches aren't weak and bend over and break. Okay. What you're going to do when you tip back, all the new wood is your fruiting wood. So you're going to be able to count some fruiting buds, the double buds, and then you're going to count back, and you want to see about where it would bend a little bit and still be flexible. So you're going to take a little off so it won't bend as much, so you don't have it breaking off with the weight of the fruit. You may have to go back later in the year after the peaches have already been fertilized, the flowers been fertilized, and the peaches start to grow, so that you may have to thin a few more. There is no chemical or mechanical way to thin peaches, so you have to thin them by hand. So that's just the name of the game, is time. And These trees are a bit older here in our orchard, so they're not as highly producing as some younger, more virile trees. So we really use these for pruning exercises a lot, so I'm going to prune them pretty substantially. If you were going to do a more commercial type production, or for fruit, truly for all fruit production, you may not take as many buds off now and see how many actually produce peaches before you prune them off. That's another good tip for, especially coming out of an extremely cold winter period. We've had here in Tennessee this year some temperatures uncharacteristically down into the single digits and even into the negatives. So you may wait later in the year to prune, a little bit later into the summer, to see if the buds are truly going to grow and develop. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, at a tree that we've just about completely pruned. We're just finishing up some fine tuning on it, just looking at a few things that we may have missed. Or you'll notice at every different perspective you get at on the tree, you'll find something that you didn't see before that you want to take off. Keeping in mind about your 30%, you can see here on the ground in front of me, this is just about everything we've taken off this tree. Maybe this year not as quite 30%, a little bit lighter growth. But as you can see, it has the open center. Each branch has a cluster where there are still some fruiting wood. And we've left a little bit maybe to tip back later on once we see about fruit production going on into the spring. We may come back and tip a few of these back later on, but this is the general technique for pruning a peach, plum, nectarine, apricot.